Hello friends. Some time ago I used to have a mini furnace here where I used to cast copper, aluminum and brass. On one occasion, while I was weighing a gas cylinder, I dropped the cylinder, fell on the tile, and left this enormous hole here. On another occasion, some molten brass fell on this other tile and left a chip in it. Other tiles also have chips due to things falling on them, or even I stepped on a pebble, stuck to my shoe, and that created a chip like that. The chips in this hole are different kinds of damage, and they can be fixed in two ways. The chipped surfaces are small and still have the underlying clay base, so we should be able to repair them without having to replace the whole tile. On the other hand, the damage in this tile is very big. If you notice, we can see all the way through the tile down to the concrete slab. We can fill the hole with mortar, ceramic adhesive or mastic, and then finish the top surface with many layers of acrylic or enameled glossy paint, as if it was a big chip. But if the design has a complex pattern, we need to be artists. However, this is what we would have to do if we don't have a replacement tile, so we can change the whole tile. In this video I'm going to show you both how to repair chips in floor tiles and how to replace a cracked floor tile. Now let's start with chips in floor tiles. If you notice there, the chip part of the tile includes the glaze or enamel and primer coating, leaving the clay layer naked. The thickness of the chip is possibly around 1 millimeter. The layer of enamel is bound to the clay using a heat firing process, a process we can't apply on the floor, least just on a patch. If we apply heat here, the whole tile would crack. What we need is a strong adhesive for a ceramic surface. Additionally, we need colors that will match the rest of the tile, and these colors must be embedded in such a way that they can handle the amount of traffic over these tiles. There are two methods to do this. One method consists of a filler or adhesive that fills the chip or the hole, and once it's dry, you paint it following the pattern and colors of the tile, using a glossy enamel or acrylic paint. As a filler, we can use epoxy adhesive, putties like 3M Bondo, or the dispersion acrylic mastic used for sticking tiles. This method is not very good though in places with some traffic. If you look at these tiles where the enamel is far hardened into the ceramic, you'll notice regular traffic has removed most of the surface colors, the pattern. That is what will happen with any painted coat, and much faster than a far hardened one. So this method should be used in places with no traffic. In this place, it will be a good method. The advantage of painting over the adhesive is you can try to imitate a crazy pattern and colors as best you can. However, you must consider that that layer will disappear eventually under traffic. The best method for places with high traffic requires that the whole filler or adhesive base has the color we need, so that if the top layer is removed by traffic, you have the same colors in the following layers. For example, here we can see that the underlying layer is sort of yellowish, while the pattern is red-brown. So if we mix the adhesive or filler with a yellowish color and later paint the red-brownish over it, we might be able to get a more lasting repair. If the ceramic has no pattern, it's just one color, we can blend that color into the adhesive in full depth before hardening. So any traffic walking over it will just bring out the same color it has below the surface. For this method, we need a filler or adhesive that tolerates mixing with colors and takes a long time to set, enough for us to find the right color and apply it. As far as I have been able to find out, our best option is a 2-part epoxy adhesive. These adhesives can be colored with earth colors or dry pigments. Araldite, Loctite, Wacon, 3M, all those brands have strong epoxy adhesives that can be colored. Epoxy resins used in artwork can also be colored with a variety of dry and liquid tints, but I'm not sure how strong and durable those resins are, especially on floor tiles. This epoxy adhesive takes 10 minutes in setting, and this one takes 30 minutes. Others can take 5 minutes or even 90 seconds, but that might not be enough time for the work we need. Now you will have to check where you live what kind of adhesive you have available, but they have to be either 10 or 30 minutes in setting. You can mix the earth colors before adding them to the adhesive, but the final color might not end up the same as the tar, and you may have to do some fine-tuning while mixing in with the adhesive. The earth colors must be added to the epoxy adhesive after you have mixed the resin with the hardener, or the chemical binding can fail. So you might need more than 5 minutes to get the right color before the adhesive sets. Of course, before working on the tile, do some tests on a bit of plastic or spare tile, so you know beforehand how to reach the right color and make sure it stays that color after drying. When we sand dust it, it'll end up with a matte finish, and worse than that is that sand dusting will end up removing the color of the tile or the part that's okay. So it's best not to sand dust it. Instead, placing the adhesive here must be the final step. So we must remove any excess of adhesive before it gets hard, because if we sandpaper it, it'll end up worse. As I said before, if you have a big crack, a hole like this one, you might not be able to imitate the colors and the pattern to get an acceptable result. Here it's when it's better to change the whole tile if you have a replacement. Luckily, I demanded 3 spare tiles from the installer, and I'm going to use one of those spare tiles to change this whole tile. Well, let's get into business. There are some things you must be very well aware of when removing a broken tile. The first thing we have to do is remove the grout around the cracked tile, so that when we remove the tile itself, we won't damage any other tile. We can remove the grout using a special grout remover or rake. You can use a knife, a trowel, pointed trowel, but whatever tool we use, we have to apply well-controlled strokes along the edge of the bad tile. Never using fast and long strokes, nor by hammering. One can very easily lose control, and the sharp tool will either chip the edge or slide over the nice enamel, ruining the tile, this tile that we don't want to remove. You know Murphy's Law? Well, never forget it. Never use a power tool to remove the grout. That's only for people who believe they can never fail. Once we've removed all the grout, then we have to start removing the tar. Don't use a chisel and a sledgehammer or a hammer drill from above. The vibrations might loosen neighboring tars. The best way to go about removing a tar is cutting the tar into smaller parts and lifting the pieces from below. You can either cut an X from one point to the other, or you can cut along the edge, about 3 centimeters from the edge, or other cuts to make the pieces of tar small as possible. So then it's easy to put the chisel below those pieces of tar and lifting them up. Here's where we have to use an angle grinder to cut the tar. We need to use equipment to protect ourselves, our ears, our eyes, and a vacuum cleaner to pick up the dust, because this produces too much dust. I have to protect the equipment I have here. Okay, we've cut all the pieces off. Now we can start removing bits of tar. Now we should never work on this part. It's very easy to crack the other tar. So never work on this part. Always in that direction, okay? And we could start chiseling in some parts. And now very carefully in this part. I should be using gloves because these tars are very sharp there. Now, before putting the new tar on, we have to remove part of this adhesive, at least 5 millimeters down. Okay, we test it and we can see that it's scarcely above the level. So we have to remove more material underneath. So we have to eliminate all these top parts and reach about that level. There we are. We have it quite deep all around. Now we just have to fill it with adhesive and we're ready. Okay, before we pour in the adhesive, we have to wet all the surface and the surface of the tar so that the adhesive has good adhesion and it doesn't dry up too quickly. Okay, we have to pour enough adhesive to ensure that the tar ends up above the level of the floor. Now this tie isn't one you can put on however you want. It has to follow the pattern. That's it. Okay. So there goes. Now, that's great because it's above the level. And you can see it, it's evident it's above the level. Now, to get out the excess of material, what we have to do is bang on it with our hands or moving it about. Just in that way till it is precisely at the level. And then we regularly check the tires flush with the other tires. That's okay. Using a ruler. It's okay. Or any straight object. We didn't have to do much moving about because it's quite on its point. Okay, now we get the string out and remove these excess. Okay, there we are. Now we let it dry, and in a couple of days we put some grout on it. Well friends, that's about it. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please remember, give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.